So let's move on and talk about the next one in the apps, which is the ThingWorx Asset Monitoring and Utilization Application, AMU. Okay, so AMU is about essentially addressing the challenges of maintenance personnel in your factory, understanding what's going on with the assets. Okay, so you've got a team of people out there in the factory, dealing with making sure that everything's up and running, dealing with any downtime issues, alarms, whatever that might be. So it's to help them really get an understanding of what's happening with uptime and availability, and let them know, when anything happens that's out of the ordinary. Okay, so notify them in real time. All right, so it's really to provide a descriptive analytics approach to monitor that asset health in real time, okay, based on thresholds that you define, and then identify things that are abnormal and alert people in real time. Okay, this is really forming the basis of predictive maintenance for your equipment in the factory. Okay, so how does it do that? Okay, so what we do is we're looking at getting this real time visibility into asset performance. So again, we're using the pre-built application. So it provides our asset cards, so we can understand each individual asset, or again, like I said before, roll them up into the maybe the line or the site. Okay, we can configure different alerts based on property rules and limits that we define, and then we can start to look at how does the data trend over time for troubleshooting. We can define our alert and alarming for letting people know what's going on. And then we can also define an escalation process as well. Okay, if the alarm goes to someone, they're busy with something else, what should we now do? So again, some samples of PTC customers around the world, again, getting double digit impact. Okay, so some big numbers there, up to 20% increase in throughput, 20 to 30% reduction in unplanned downtime, which can be a huge cost for a lot of companies. And also, as we are trying to be better, looking at reduction in energy consumption as well. Okay, so you can see some companies there, like some fairly big, well-known names like Pfizer there, who are using this in their factories. Okay, so again, the features and key uses of this. Okay, so it's out of the box monitoring of assets. Okay, it's done through Kepware connectivity. So as I mentioned, the industrial connectivity to talk to the List ThingWorx talk to your factory pieces of equipment. So we can hook into those, start reading their properties. We define these asset cards for each thing that we're interested in tracking, and then we can start to define our alerts based on limits and properties, and then escalation process. Okay, so really this is designed for maintenance engineers, the people who are responsible for essentially keeping your factory running, to understand what's happening out there, and for the business decision makers to identify which assets are failing more often and why. Maybe it's time to replace it. Maybe we need to up the maintenance schedule on that, whatever that might be. Okay. So again, a little bit of a look at it before we have a demo. So we've got these asset cards. Okay. So each card it shows the number of active alarms on that particular asset. We've got information on the up and down time, and then we can configure other information on that card as well. So it can show the size. We can choose to filter those. We can show particular bits of information that we're interested in. So you can see in the examples here, we're looking at some it on my screen. Too small for my eyes. Things like temperature, might be volume, might be power usage, power consumption, whatever it might be. Okay. All right. So as we said before, we can configure alarms. So basically the idea is we can configure alarm based on any property of that asset. Okay. We can define what priority that should be, how it reacts to that. So it could be something as simple as when the temperature gets above, let's say 45 degrees, we want to trigger some sort of alarm for that. Okay. We can define lots of different conditions. So we can start to compare that to constants, define limits, whatever it might be. Maybe it's running too cold, maybe it starts to run too hot. And then we define the alarm actions. Okay, so send an email out, we can configure the body and the title for that. We can add multiple actions into that. And as I said before, we've got our escalation procedure as well. Okay, so we can have, once alarm is sent, the system is tracking that it sent that alarm. So it can say, if no one responds to that alarm within 30 minutes, then we'll start to escalate that to other people or whatever it might be. Okay. All right. And then we have also, once we're sending out that alarm, we also then, how do we acknowledge that alarm? Okay. So this is designed, this page is scalable to fit on a mobile device because, we don't have our factory service people just sitting there in an office all day staring at a computer screen. They'll be out and about. Okay. So we can acknowledge things directly from the email that's sent out as well, with information about those limits that have been set. Okay. And then we have reporting on all of that. So we can get an overview report on all the alarms that were sent out. So we can see, filter that based on severity, status, start to really drill down into that, as well as a notification report on those alarms. Okay, so we can see if it was sent, how it was sent. Again, we can start to drill down in and better understand, what was happening. Okay, how do we react to that? So let's have a look at the AMU and how that works, asset monitoring and utilization.
In this demonstration, I'm going to walk you through one of our ThingWorx applications, Asset Monitoring and Utilization, available as part of our Factory Insights as a Service SaaS offering or as an on-premise deployment. For the demo, I'm going to be playing the role of a maintenance engineer at an automotive part production plant, responsible for continuously monitoring machine health and minimize the amount and duration of downtime events. When entering AMU, the user can navigate through equipment based on the plant hierarchy. We see here the highest level of the structure, in our case the site level, represented by the box called Boston. The equipment tile provides us with information about how many assets are running, in downtime, or not configured under this hierarchy level. We can also see how many alarms are active on the assets behind this node. We could have multiple plants and hierarchy configured on one system, providing a multi-site overview. This top-down approach allows us to navigate through the equipment structure to pinpoint issues and assets that aren't performing as expected, are in downtime, or need our attention. We are now on the line level, and we can see our 3 lines as part of the automotive component production plan. We can see that the active alarm is caused by an asset in line 1. We can continue to drill deeper through the line hierarchy to get to the asset level, where we can monitor each piece of equipment and their sensor readings coming from PLCs or sensors that are connected via Kepware to ThingWorx. Each asset card provides the maintenance engineers with information about the operation time, active alarms, connection status, and up to 9 operation critical sensor readings. We can easily identify that the CNC mill has an active alarm and that the operation temperature is the cause for this issue. From AMU, we have direct access to Process Troubleshooter, the perfect tool to identify root causes for all types of events, alarms, and data points trends. Using this powerful charting tool makes it easy to understand the relationship between events and data and to identify root causes. After we select a time frame, Process Troubleshooter provides me charting that visualizes my selected events, attribute data, and KPI trends in one view. I have the option to hide different data, zoom into the chart, dynamically change the time frame using drag with my cursor, or add anytime more data points to it. We can drill down the factory hierarchy and select one or multiple equipment. In the middle of the screen, I can see 3 tabs with a list of events, a list of attributes related to the selected equipment, and KPIs. The user is free in what data points he wants to add to the chart. I am starting by adding the alarm event type to the chart. I also want to add the attributes of the equipment to the chart to better understand the relationship between the past alarms and all available data points. After I am done doing my selection of events, attributes, and KPIs, I can switch to chart mode and visualize the data. This powerful tool allows maintenance engineers or line managers to trend all kinds of data and identify issues and their root causes. As the maintenance engineer, I can also view more details about each alarm, view how long the alarm has been active, who has acknowledged it, and what caused it. The advanced filter gives me the option to filter for specific alarms based on the status, time frame, priority, or related equipment. To view new active alarms, I will set the alarm status to New and leave all other filter options open. I can now see the active alarm caused by the operating temperature of the CNC milling machine. From here, I can take actions to acknowledge the alarm, signaling other users in the system that I will take care of this issue. Or if I know this alarm is redundant or an error by the PLC, I can delete the alarm. When I acknowledge an alarm, I get a pop-up that provides me with more details about the alarm. This alarm escalation and acknowledgement process is very helpful for a large maintenance crew to organize their resources and to keep track of machine issues for ongoing analysis. When I change the filter options, I can see that the alarm now appears under the Acknowledged Alarms. The Closed Alarm Status option allows me to review previously closed alerts, which can be useful to identify recurring issues or cascading issues for the maintenance team. AMU also provides the maintenance engineer with reporting functionality around alarms. In the Alarm Report dashboard, I can generate reports around past alarm events. After selecting a time frame and equipment, we see a graph showing the number of alarm events in the selected time frame for this asset. We can change the graph to give insights into the average acknowledgement time of alarms, as well as the average closing time. The last AMU menu item provides the user with notification reports. Each time a user gets notified about an active alarm or an alarm escalation, AMU stores a record that we can review for compliance or maintenance improvement. Like in the Alarm Report dashboard, I select a time frame and can optionally filter by equipment as well. The dashboard looks very similar, but the data provides the user with insight about the notifications that have been sent. Utilizing the Asset Monitoring and Utilization application, PTC customers have noted significant performance improvements in throughput, unplanned downtime, and energy consumption.
Okay, so that's a bit of a look at AMU and how that works.